What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video I'm going to be predicting the top 10 point guards in NBA 2K18. This is a ratings prediction video, and I'm doing this under the assumption that NBA 2K18 has the exact same rating system as 2K17, with a few players as sapphires, a few as emeralds, but mostly gold, silver and bronzes, and players starting off at quite low ratings. So anyway, now let's get on to the players. We're going to be starting from the lowest rating to the highest rating. First up, we have got Mike Conley, the guy who signed the biggest contract in NBA history, but it's been overtaken by James Harden and Steph Curry as far as I know. But Mike Conley had the best season of his career. He averaged 20.5 points per game, 6.3 assists per game. He also shot 40% from 3 for only the second time in his career, and shot 46% from the field, which is the highest he's ever shot. He led the Grizzlies to the playoffs, where they gave the San Antonio Spurs a really good series, and Mike Conley is probably at this stage probably the best player ever to never be an All-Star, and if he ends up not being an All-Star in his career, realistically he will be the best ever to never make an All-Star team. But I think even though he improved a lot, I still think the 2K are going to give him a 79 overall. I don't think he's going to be upgraded. He's definitely not going to be downgraded, but I think they're going to give him a 79 overall anyway. You might think I'm crazy, but I just think that the 9 point guards ahead of him are a little bit better, and I don't think that they're going to make 10 point guards emeralds. Next up, we have got, from the Charlotte Hornets, Kemba Walker. I think Kemba Walker is either going to be a 79 or an 80, but I'm gonna guess 80. Kemba Walker was an All-Star for the first time in his career. He shot a career-high 44.3% from the field and 39.9% from 3, as well as 84.7% from the line. He averaged 5.5 assists per game, while also averaging 23.2 points per game. Unfortunately, the Charlotte Hornets didn't make the playoffs, which was actually a surprise, because the Hornets were quite good the year before, bringing the Miami Heat, which were led by Dwayne Wade, to 7 games. Kemba Walker was great in that series, carried on his momentum into the season, and even though the Hornets didn't do well, Kemba Walker can't be blamed for that. He had the best season of his career. Next up, we have got a player that I think is going to be an 80 overall as well. It is the point guard from the Toronto Raptors, and it's Kyle Lowry. I wish he had joined the San Antonio Spurs. That would have been a match made in heaven. Or for the Philadelphia 76ers to have drafted, I don't know, to stay at 3, drafted Josh Jackson and let Kyle Lowry play the point. But it seems like they're looking to play Ben Simmons there, so I can kind of see why they did that. But anyway, Kyle Lowry only played 60 games last year, but in those 60 games he averaged a career high in minutes. He shot 41.2% from 3, which is really good. He also averaged a career high in rebounds with 4.8. He averaged 7 assists per game, and also averaged a career high 22.4 points per game, which is extremely good, which is over a point a game more than he scored the previous year. Even though he had a better year statistics wise, I think the 2K, more than him improving, 2K are going to lower him because they're going to have to hire the rest of the players, because they can't have every point guard as an 83 overall. And I just think that because of how he is in comparison to the rest of the point guards in the NBA, he's going to be an 80 overall. While that might be crazy, and I do think Kyle Lowry is as good, maybe better than some of the guys on this list, I just don't think 2K are going to rate him that highly. Next up, we've got a guy who I think is going to be an 81 overall, one of the best true point guards of all time, and it's CP3. I think he's going to have a bad year by his standards with the Rockets, and I don't think that him signing the Rockets makes him any better in the regular season. Obviously, it makes him a better playoff team, but I don't think their record improves. I think it actually gets worse this year. But anyway, Chris Paul averaged 18.1 points per game, which was not great last year. And for the first time since 2012-2013, he averaged less than 10 assists per game. He actually averaged his least total in assists since the lockout year. And if you're not counting the lockout year, the least since his sophomore year. He only averaged 18.1 points per game, which again was the worst since 2012-2013. He shot well from 3 at 41% and well enough from the field at 47.6%, which is good for a guard. But overall, his season wasn't as good as previous years, and he did only play in 61 of a possible 82 games, which is the third least he's played in any season in his career, and one of those 2 seasons where he played less games was the lockout year. But anyway, Chris Paul is still one of the best point guards in basketball, and I think an 81 rating is fair for him, and I think that's what he's going to be rated. Next up, we've got a guy who I think is going to stay as the exact same rating in NBA 2K18, and it's Damian Lillard. I think Damian Lillard is going to be an 81 overall. Lillard played in 75 games this year. He shot 44.4%, which was actually like nearly 3% higher than he did the previous year, and is a career high. He also shot 37% from 3, which while not as good as he shot in other years is still quite good. He also got 4.3 rebounds per game, which is a career high. 5.9 assists, which is an entire assist lower than the average last year. He also turned the ball over less and averaged 2 more points. So he averaged 27 points per game, which is insane. The only reason I can see him being an 81 overall, and you might think he should be upgraded, is because of the players ahead of him. I think that 2K are going to try to keep it as little like top heavy as possible to give the players more room to grow so that we open more packs. So I think 2K are going to rate the players as low as they possibly can, and I think that an 81 overall is what they're going to give Damian Lillard. Next up, we have got another 81 overall, and the reason I'm guessing he's an 81 overall is because he is the exact same rating as Damian Lillard. We all know that they're both 89 overall in regular teams, and I think he's going to be an 81 overall as well, and that is Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas had honestly one of the weirdest breakout years. Like, everyone thought that he'd hit almost his peak at 22.2 points per game. But he goes and averages 28.9 points per game. He still is arguably the worst defensive player in basketball, with one of the worst defensive plus-minus ratings. And I don't think that the Celtics are going to win a title or come close to winning a title by Isaiah as their best player. But he is still really good. I think an 81 rating is definitely fair for him because he is one of the most clutch players in the league. He's one of the best big game players, and he had a great season for the Boston Celtics. Next, we have got Kyrie Irving, who I think, because as we know, he's a 90 overall, so I think he's still going to be one rating ahead of Isaiah Thomas and Damian Lillard. I think Kyrie is going to be an 82 overall this year. Kyrie Irving averaged 25.2 points per game, which is up from 19.6 points per game. And you might be saying, oh, that's a huge gap. But the thing is, in 2015-2016, he had one of the best finals I've ever seen, only beaten out by LeBron James for finals MVP. But Kyrie, I think, is going to have the exact same rating. And from the card, he's still a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers as of the time I'm making this video. So that's the reason why his card is a Cleveland Cavaliers card. I'm sorry if you're watching this and he's been traded, but as of right now, he's a Cleveland Cavaliers player. I know they will trade. Next up, we've got an upgrade of 2 from last year. This guy is one of the best, well, one of the fastest point guards in the game. And he's actually improving his shooting every single year, pretty much. And it's John Wall. I know he took a little bit of a step back in three-point shooting this year and the year before, but it's still a lot better than the less than 30% he shot coming into the league and the 7% he shot in his second year. John Wall this season averaged 23.1 points per game. For the first time in his career, he averaged over 20 points. But he also averaged 10.7 assists per game. He averaged 4.1 turnovers per game, which is quite high, but when you're averaging 10 assists, it kind of evens out. He shot 80% from the line, which is quite good. He also shot 45% from the field, which again is not bad for a point guard, and is a great defender. So John Wall, definitely one of the best point guards in the game. I think that an 82 overall is fair for him. A lot of you guys might be saying switch him and Kyrie, switch him and Isaiah Thomas, but I think John Wall is going to be an 82 overall. At number 2, we've got a player who I think is going to be downgraded by 2, and that's Stephen Curry. I know you guys might be saying, oh, the only reason he scored less points and did everything less this year is because he took less shots and had to defer to Kevin Durant. Yes, you are 100% correct. I genuinely don't think Curry is any worse of a player as I thought he was last year. Last year, I thought he was the 3rd best player in the NBA. I still think he's the 3rd best player in the NBA. It's just that 2K bases their ratings a lot on the stats the players put up. And for that reason, I think they're going to give him an 83 overall. As well as the fact they're going to try to keep as few sapphires as possible so they can get more moments cards. And a sapphire moment, Steph Curry with 94 shot 3 is going to be so OP at the start of the game. But Curry averaged 25.3 points per game, which was more than he did in his MVP year in 2014-15, but a lot less than his 30.1 the year before. He averaged 1.8 steals per game, which is still quite good. Curry's a great team defender, not a great on-ball defender. He shot less than 90% from the line, which is the first time he's done that since 2013-2014. He also shot 41% from 3, which you might be saying that's really good, but it was the lowest of his career. The year before he shot 45%, 44, 42, 45, 45, 44, 44. 41% is the lowest by a long shot Steph Curry has shot from 3. Even though from 2 he shot the ball well, he shot 46.8% from the field. He just didn't have as good a year as he did the year before. So for all you Curry fans saying he should be rated higher, again, this is a prediction. If I was giving my actual top 5 NBA players, Curry is number 3 behind LeBron and Durant. But I I'm 100% certain he's not going to be the highest rated point guard in NBA 2K18. And number 1, of course, the MVP, Russell Westbrook. I think that Russell Westbrook is going to be an 85 overall sapphire. And of all my team predictions, assuming that it's done the exact same way as this year, with sapphires being the highest ratings, I'm most confident out every prediction I made about Russell Westbrook being an 85 overall. I don't know why I think this, but I'm just extremely confident on this prediction. But one thing that I am 100% sure of is Westbrook is going to be the highest rated point guard at the start of NBA 2K18 MyTEAM. So yeah, I don't really need to go that much into depth. He did average a triple-double, and everyone knows that he's fills up the stat sheet, which is mainly what 2K look at when judging ratings. So anyway, that's the video. These are my top 10 point guard predictions. Again, this is not my opinion, this is a prediction. So anyway, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.